Welcome to City 17 to another CoH2 replay cast. This time it's going to be featuring Davide, who's something to replay, Shannon, 80, of course playing as the USF as you can see, Shannon 86 playing as British. We have also Spark playing as the USF as well, and Nestor playing as British. On the enemy team we do have Blood Candies playing as the OKW, Aguz playing as the Wehrmacht, Guyang playing as the Wehrmacht, and Samuel 94 Ario playing as the OKW. So we do already have a Brand Carrier start out of Nestor, so we're gonna see how that works out. It looks like 2 Brand Carriers. Oh, that's interesting. That might work out to his favor in case the enemy decides to go for some light vehicles like the Scuba Wagon, which the Brand Carrier will be pretty easily able to deal with. Americans going for normal start with 2 riflemen each, MG Vickers from the British, and looks like he will wait to get any other. Oh no, second MG out of the British, so that might work out to eliminate some of this infantry. We do have 2 Volksgrenadiers out of Samuel. We have the first engagement on the left side and on the right side. We have Sturm Pioneers attempting to push back these rear echelons, but the rear echelons are well in heavy cover, which is good, but unfortunately the Pioneers will be able to close the distance and possibly force them away, so they should probably retreat as soon as possible, and wisely they retreat. So that was a pretty good engagement for the Americans, losing 2 rear echelon models for 1 Stormpilot model, so that's pretty decent. At the same time, on the left side, we do have the British pushing up against the OKW, forcing back the Scuba Wagon, which is pretty much outmatched against the infantry carrier, so that would be a bad matchup for the Scuba Wagon, wisely retreating away and will attempt to be repaired soon. On this side, we do have mechanized assault being selected by Guyang, and he will get a squad of assault grenadiers along with 2 MGs, which will work out in his favor because of the just abundance of buildings on the right side of City 17. MG42 from Aguz, actually 3 MG42s from Aguz, so we'll see if he can manage to make a good line and suppress whatever enemies come for him, but it looks like so far he's being flanked pretty well by these riflemen out of Spark going for 3 rifleman squads, so he will have the versatility required to flank around these MGs and deal many death blows to them. It looks like though most of his infantry is being used to help out his ally. With these 2 Brand Carriers, Nestor has been able to push back the Germans, and since he has chosen advanced emplacements, he will be able to fortify the areas he takes fairly soon, which is going to be very bad for the enemy. We do have a forward assembly being constructed by him already, so that would be pretty bad, and the Scuba Wagon immediately goes down. On the right side, does it look like the Germans have managed to push up a little bit, thanks to the MGs mostly, it seems. What right now would serve them very well is a mortar, because of course the enemy is also going for the MGs and using the buildings to their advantage. But it looks like Shannon should actually be working towards getting a Wasp Flamethrower on his Universal Carrier to eliminate these MGs in the houses. Or in an alternative solution, go for a mortar pit, though he doesn't really have the manpower for it. In terms of doctrine selections, we also have a Jaeger infantry out of Aguz. Now, the Jaeger infantry doctrine is not very popular for a reason, is that it's very munitions intensive. As you can see, all of the abilities require munitions and lots of them. The light artillery barrage is a pretty bad ability, but the close air support does make up for it, and the G43s and camouflage can be really useful to gain infantry superiority, especially against the Americans. The camouflage is good because once your units are in camouflage and they go out of camouflage to fire at the enemy, they receive a accuracy bonus. So it's really good for things like MGs or Panther Grenadiers that can deal a lot of damage at medium ranges. Some rear echelons attempting to barbed wire this approach, and they will be wiped, so that's pretty bad for Spark, but he will, looks like, be able to support his ally very well on the left side. Flamethrower Wasp, along with a normal Brand Carrier, protecting a Bofors, so it looks like he used this one default infantry section to just build emplacements while he uses the Brand Carriers to push back the enemy. And that's very interesting, considering that if the Germans had gone for a Raketenwerfer, that plan would have gone fairly badly for them, but it doesn't look like the Germans were smart enough to do that, which is a bit of an issue. A nice flank out of Spark, but he will walk into negative cover with a LMG Grenadier watching the road, so that's really bad for the American infantry. They will be forced to retreat, possibly even lose a squad. It doesn't look like he will be able to escape thanks to the fact that the MG managed to, well, decided to focus on the other squad that was still full HP. On the right side, we do have a Brand carrier being blown up. It looks like Davide will be managing to push up with some riflemen and steal one of the MG42's. Excellent play, managing to get one of those crucial units under his control. It does look like he went for two, rather free rifleman squads and an ambulance. Now the ambulance is a bit too far ahead in my opinion, but it will serve fairly well if he can manage to get his infantry up here and continue replenishing them in the fight. It does look like he built a fuel cache at the frontline point. Now, I don't really agree. I think the fuel cache would have been better built over here, or perhaps over here as well, because over here it's a bit too exposed. And so if he built it in this point, it would be way better protected. It doesn't look like he managed to build a fighting position with his rear echelons, but he hasn't been upgrading it yet. He will be attempting to flank with some riflemen, it looks like, soon, and he will manage to get his rear echelons into the structure, so he might be able to repel these assault grenadiers. But the assault grenadiers do manage to get into close range and force the rear echelons to retreat. Not before they manage to launch a rifle grenade at the MG, but that doesn't really do any damage. So the riflemen will be... actually, this is a bit of a mistake. They should have been going around here and taking the MG by surprise from the black back. This does look like the captain tier was chosen, so that could be good with a Stuart. With a Stuart soon. The Germans are attempting to push up on the right side, but the MGs from Shannon are repelling them fairly easily, and it doesn't look like Shannon is floating a lot of manpower. So it doesn't look like he will use some of that for a mortar pit, but at the same time he's leaving his MG into the flames, which is a bit of an issue. On the left side, though, it does look like the Allies have managed to pretty much secure their hold on the left side, but they haven't managed to push up into the enemy's base area. The Blood Candies, OKW, decided to go for, Breakthrough Doctrine and get a Sturm Officer. So this might work out in his favor in attempting to push up against the Americans, but unfortunately I don't think it will work out very well with the Bofors being here. So it does look like the Germans have pushed through and they have managed to take out most of the fighting position, but finally the MG was upgraded, and it does look like the Germans will be repelled by this, but at the same time the Scott Card will approach and save the Assault Grenadiers and Pioneers from Wuyang to be... It doesn't look like the Riflemen don't really have any kind of defense against the 222 because these are freshly built riflemen and don't have any veterancy, so they will not be able to defeat the 222, but the bazooka captain will be approaching fairly soon. Doesn't look like, in my opinion, the Scout Car should be focusing on the ambulance right now instead of the MG, but the MG was forced to retreat at least. It doesn't look like the captain is still not anywhere near enough to provide support. Ambulance will be attempting to run away, so pretty good that he saw that, and it doesn't look like a... What was that? There was a really big explosion over here. I'm not sure what that's supposed to be, but it does look like the rear echelon... Oh no! Ah, that retreat though. That retreat is very unfortunate, because that Scout Car would have been killed if that MG hadn't retreated. It doesn't look like the rear echelons were... No, they weren't wiped. So that's really good. David did not really losing that many units. Actually, not really losing any units in a fight that could have been pretty bad. Does look like a rifle grenade will be able to wipe a rifleman spot from Spark. So Spark is down to 2 rifleman spots, but they are upgraded with BARs, one of them at least. So we have a Stuart from him, and we also have a Stuart from Davide. So that's really good because you really need to make usage of Stuart as long as it's still useful, and soon enough the Germans will have lots of anti-tank guns like this Pak-40 from Wuyang and this Raketenwerfer from Samuel, so Stuart will not be too useful too soon. It looks like the explosions are a Stuka? They definitely feel like a Stuka, but I'm really not sure what these explosions are. Like, I'm looking very stupid, but I don't know. We do have at least a support gun being chosen. Oh, they're Goliaths! Right. They're Goliaths. So Samuel has been making use of Goliaths to attempt to push up against the British. Doesn't look like it's being too successful though, as all of the British defenses are pretty much still in place. So that will not be too good on his munitions resources. Doesn't look like Blood Candies went for a mechanized regiment headquarters. I'm really not sure what he wants to do with it because he doesn't really have the fuel required for a Stuka, nor is a Lux or a Puma a really good idea right now because the game is a little bit too late for that. But he might be going for a King Tiger because of course he also went for the Battle Group headquarters, which is why he doesn't really have that much fuel despite the late mechanized regiment headquarters. And 222 from Maguz will be in a bit of an issue because it's really not... it might actually be able to do some damage against the Stuart, but it will probably die. Especially because there's 2 riflemen squads approaching from the rear with anti-tank grenades ready. And it doesn't look like... No, one of them will be tossed, and at the same time the second Stuart from Davide will be flanking and taking out the 2. A really good play out of the Americans surrounding that 222, which is very much too ballsy. This 222 can do a lot of damage against the Stuart, especially against the rear armor, but it will never really defeat it to, to a point. Now, if there were 2 222s, that would be a different story, but really, really shouldn't have been playing that aggressively with that unit. So the MG42 that was stolen is being put to good use at the center strategic point, and the Stuart is also doing some pretty good work at pushing back Guiyang's stuff. But Guiyang does have a 90-tank gun, a pack. It does look like he attempted to use it on the right side against the defenses, but again, this was a mistake because the Stuart appeared on the left side and is starting to pick away at his infantry. So pack moving to reposition is a good idea, but I'm pretty sure it's a bit too late as the riflemen have been able to flank the MG, and they will be able to at least force the MG to retreat, which means that Davide's infantry will have free reign to deal with this pack 40 as it pleases them. It does look like the 222 Scout Guard will be defeated, and which is a bit of a mistake out of Guiyang because he should have been retreating it. A grenade will go off on the pack, but not really doing that much damage. The pack will be taking some shots at the Stuart, but the Stuart will wisely retreat out of the way, and the Stuart will be saved by the rifleman's intervention, finally finishing off the pack gun. A Panzer headquarters is being built in a very precarious location on the right side. At the same time, Blood Candies is attempting a big push with his infantry against the Americans on the left, managing to find a gap between the defenses of the Americans and the British, and pushing through it with lots of infantry, but it doesn't look like he will be able to push up any further thanks to this well-placed MG42 from Spark. So both Americans making use of stolen weapons, especially really good play taking the pack out of the German hands. Nice work prioritizing the pack instead of the MG with his infantry. Could have gone either, could have stolen either, but he chose the pack, which is good because the Germans will be bringing vehicles to the soon. That's really good on his part. A pack howitzer was actually built, which is a good idea considering he is loading a shitload of resources, and he should really be working towards getting a major at this point. Major, especially since he does have an ambulance, he could use the major retreat point to have all his units retreat to the ambulance, which would shorten his retreat path to the field by a long shot, and will definitely help in maintaining map control. The Panzer headquarters is in a very precarious location because it is basically in a very open spot next to a bunch of British defenses. So, yeah. The fighting position will be upgraded, so it does look like this is basically the Maginot Line at this point. It doesn't really look like the Germans have anything that can breach this defense. Another Goliath is on the field. It looks like the British mortars have been hammering away at the Battle Group headquarters, and more Goliaths are being produced, so that's kind of interesting. Again, if the Goliaths were being used correctly, they could be very devastating, but it doesn't look like the British mortars will be offering a reprieve to Ariel's Battle Group headquarters, as they will be targeting his Panzer headquarters and possibly destroying it very soon. So, honestly, Ariel will be going for a King Tiger, it does look like, because he doesn't really have the capability to build anything else, because your Panzer headquarters will be destroyed soon. does look like a big push out of a boots will be happening in the center, but he will be facing with an MG42 that was stolen from him, and that will probably stop his infantry push, which is very badly coordinated. His infantry is kind of blobbing into the center with no real order to it, and one squad was wiped. At the same time, David is nicely pushing up and taking out a Pioneer squad, but the MG42 from Guiyang will be able to push him back. His own MG42 will be forced to retreat after taking some damage. Lieutenant tier was upgraded. Now, I don't agree with that, because he doesn't really have anything. That he needs out of the Lieutenant tier. Like, the M20 could be good for placing down mines. He is floating a lot of munitions, but at the same time, he does look like he will be going for a major finally. Should have been going for the major a little bit sooner, but he does have at least a little bit of anti-tank defense with his pack against the Shitogi, so doesn't really need that extra armor, not yet. Though possibly another good choice would have been the armor company for the M10s, and just skipping the major, which is always a possible choice. So it does look like Nestor has been pretty much saving up his resources this entire time, and he did go for a Centaur, and he's now pushing up against Blood Candies, pretty much pushing back all his infantry, and in case you don't know what just happened, we have a bit of a traitor. So Samuel 94 went to his ally's base with a Goliath and destroyed the entirety of the Blunt Candy's infantry with a Goliath as it was retreating. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, now I know why the replay was sent to me. Yeah, that's kind of hilarious, actually. Okay. I'm really amused by this. That was interesting. So yeah, I'm pretty sure this is over. Yeah, it's Samuel pretty much... Oh god, what a troll. That was kind of interesting. Guiyang also going, yeah, this is pretty much over. Well, yeah, treachery. So now I'm gonna ask Davide, like, how much did he pay? How much did he pay fucking Samuel to do that? Because surely he must have paid him to do that. So that was pretty interesting. Yeah. Anyway, what the Germans could have done differently is, of course, on the left side, not being swarmed by the Brand carriers with a with vengeance. She should have gone for Blood Candy. Should have gone for a Reconverter. That would have been really good for him. Aguz going a bad doctrine, honestly, and then playing too recklessly with his infantry. Guiyang played pretty decently, but he focused too much on a pretty much useless strategic point. So yeah, Samuel 94, too many Goliaths, too badly used, too little infantry, too little artillery, and he got kind of pushed back by the British emplacement spam. Should have gone for a couple of support guns to deal with that. That would have been really good for him. Now the allies, Shannon, he was floating way too much. Davide floated a lot, but at the same time he also built units, which is good. The Lieutenant tier was a mistake. The late Major wasn't a mistake, but if he had gone for it a little bit earlier, it would have been better, and he would have had the capability to field a Sherman by this point, which would have been really good. The M20 that he built at the end wasn't really too good, because you used it too aggressively. The M20 is a unit that you need to use very defensively and just plant mines around the back areas, not really send it to the front line after like 10 minutes. Spark played pretty well. He was a bit too defensive. He did go for a good doctrine and didn't go, well, he actually went for the Major, which is, in my opinion, a bit of a mistake, because when you have the Pershing, you want to be going for the Pershing first and then the Major to use Jacksons to support it, but only after you have the Pershing already. And Nestor, well, he played very defensively and floated a lot, but other than that, his Brand Carrier idea was interesting. I'll give him that. And yeah, so I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you learned something, especially not Goliathing your own allies' HQ. And I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon.